it's quite a impressive. They wear a lot of light colored clothing with some gold. At least one of them has worked gold ornament on their helmet, which is kind of fancy. And they are probably wearing more expensive or high status clothes than you have seen in a long time.
I choose to think I'm rude.
Right.
Not to be impressed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm keeping bow and arrow down, but in my hands.
Absolutely. Okay. And so that's the announcement. The effect is for you can't see it from where you are, but above you, there are windows, and there are people who have set themselves up at those windows in a defensive way with missile weapons. But these guys, you can see them look up and not look very concerned. And then as a little time goes by, the various people who are completely unprepared for such a thing have gone back inside. Others have come out, and they are hastily putting on, pieces of armor, and one of them, some of these people notice you and, kind of nod at you with respect. That's kind of brave of you to take up a defensive stance they perceive it as for us. Right. And that's, good on you. It's kind of like, thanks. That was stupid, but very brave, actually. We get that. So you kind of get a quick credit from the people coming out in a defensive, with defensive stuff. I presume that sooner or later, the two of you are going to come out as well.
Yes.
But now there is a secondary crisis inside, because the high priest, or the highest ranking priest of the temple, or at least that still walks, is, has obviously suffered some kind of terrible calamity.
Yeah, it was that.
About that, do I know if he tried to blank out my mind by choice, or if it just...
That's a kind of a good question. You'd have to talk to him about that. The conversion was so rapid and so extreme that you don't know if it was a decision that he made, or whether there was some kind of divine imperative, some kind of whether there was an involuntary shift based on higher metaphysical principles at work. There's no way for you to tell, but it's a good question to have. You did not really have time to stay with him and see if he was, for example, alive.
No.
And so that is the circumstance. As the two of you are going to join out there on the steps. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Fighting stance.
Okay. So
To see you.
Yeah.
I've been a little bit busy.
Right. He demanded the presence of a priest, and the priest is not coming, so someone has to go run in and find another priest who they will probably find the youngest, a young priest who has very little magic and is, perhaps just knows how to teach spells. There's a rune magic spell that you use to teach battle magic spells. And that's the first one that priests learn. So that's probably the only spell that this guy has. And so they find him somewhere, bring him out and say, here. And he's like, wait a minute. What happened to Yulnev? So
Could I use charisma or oratory to try to de-escalate the situation?
You can. I mean, you've got, you can step out onto the steps here and make a point if you want to make it.
Do your preaching. We're happy to
Why
have
not?
you.
Johan,
Why not?
I'm probably the cause of trouble. Trust you.
Yeah,
You know.
But, we're going to try to save our hides at least. Okay, so I say something like, nobody has to be hurt today. We can talk about this. So we are willing to listen to you, trying to keep the upper hand.
Sure. The young priest that I mentioned, does kind of a quick look toward you, and decides that's pretty reasonable, and, and sort of decides to tie his wagon to you. So, now to be a priest, you do have to have a certain amount of, presence and things. But unlike a rune lord who has to have a charisma of 15 or higher, the priest only has to have a power of 18 or higher. So they don't always start very charismatic. And unfortunately for you, that's what this priest situation is. So probably came up through the library route, not the explorer route. So let's make your roll.
Oratory or charisma?
This is oratory.
Oratory.
Yeah, this is a very social, crowd-oriented situation.
Be ready to shoot in case of hashtag.
Well,
epic fail.
hashtag.
76.
Oh,
I have
no.
60. So
Okay, right. And so,
not so much.
so they listen to you throughout, and the response is immediate, which is to say that he claims the he claims the sign. He says that the sign of the Hawkseers that is here, we claim that. We claim all the information that may be associated with it. It does not belong to you. That belongs to us. And you are to be exposed to the light of truth. Whoever has been associated with this, we will take it. We will take that information. It is not yours. It will be revealed unto the light of all. That is the peace of which you speak.
Okay,
We come in peace. Yeah. The peace will be as we have described.
We can't probably bluff our way out of this.
No, that oratory roll did not go your way for having any kind of social upper hand here. He will make it, very, very clear. The alternative is, the alternative. He says, I am forced to offer personal challenge to whoever would stand against me to settle this matter. Should you refuse, should you resist, then we will simply take it at whatever price to yourselves.
And he is after the amulet that...
Well, not only that, but he wants anybody who's been associated with the amulet at all to be subjected to the rune magic of the Hawkseers, which will reveal all the information to everybody.
Does that include us?
Yes, it does.
Let's
Well,
kill
with
him.
with a little bit of luck, we could fuck them up as well, as you did with the other priests.
Do not give up the amulet.
Right.
I may talk to him. I'm not
Right.
subject to any magic if I can resist it.
I hear you. Yeah. And at this point, when he mentions, challenge, all of his followers put their weapons into a passive position. Those on horses take a step back, and he swings off of his horse. He steps off his horse and comes to the ground. Holds out his hand. Somebody puts his shield, on his arm. So he's seeing whether the challenge will be met.
Skava, run.
I'm not going to run.
Was he on his horse?
No, he stepped off his horse.
He stepped off
I'm
his
not
horse.
going to give it up.
So he is honorably offering challenge. Your alternative is, if you don't meet his challenge, then it is submission or be subject to attack from the whole band. And you know that they will tear into the defenders and kill as many as they can to get what they want. The Hawkseers are sort of known for their extreme approach to problems. This is a pretty good example.
Is it far from where we are to the priest? I was wondering.
Inside?
Yeah, where we were, because I was thinking maybe if he's conscious, I don't know if he can move, or if maybe carry him out and he can do something to him. Because since he's powerful.
Well, yes, it would be wonderful if he was in perfectly great. I mean, all indications are that he is not in very good condition. But you can go back inside and try to run up the stairs and go in there and see what's happening, if you so desire.
Oh, you mean the priest you just recently killed?
What?
Maybe I could make
No,
him-
Or something.
Or something.
Well, we don't know if he's
What
dead
happened
yet.
in there?
I'm just guessing it's
We
normal.
made an oopsie.
Well, so did I.
I was just
You are
thinking
effectively
how-
at the
Yeah.
top steps.
But the
So-
doors, are they like powerful doors? Could they resist an attack for a while? Could
They
it be a
could.
strategic point to
Are you
withdraw?
trying to get some sense into me?
I'll say
Skava's
it-
like,
it
let's
could
see if his
regroup.
eyeball is not that, not that small from here.
you could shoot it from the second floor.
Pretty sure I can get this arrow right through it.
Probably could just regroup and just an idea.
Yeah, I think that would be wise for you to go to the second. Are there windows or like not balconies, but maybe like
That's up above.
halves? Yeah, that so you can see down, so she could get some distance. And
Well, that's true.
He challenged me.
But they offered you protection within the temple. I'm guessing it's also outside, but I mean, if you just read it literally, inside the temple, they offered you protection. So,
It was a little more general than just within
yeah, okay.
the walls. But on the other hand, the words inside are not really
it's,
Skava's favorite word.
Sturdy
either.
building.
How honorable would it be to just run?
Just trying to buy time here. We kind of have a situation inside that we kind of would be nice to know what's happening there. Could you find out?
Sure, I'll make a run for it, and maybe you can go up to the second floor so you can get some distance and use your bow and arrow.
Don't look at me. It sounds very practical and cowardly.
Yeah.
But, that's just my opinion.
Better use of the bow from there.
He has stepped down and is expecting this spot right here to be a position of combat. And that's what he considers
Okay,
meeting his
so-
challenge. Let me make it clear. Behaviors like you're talking about will be interpreted to him as rejecting the challenge.
Yeah.
And if it is not open submission, they will attack full force. Each of them is reeking of battle magic, the followers.
Yeah.
And who knows what rune spells his priest has given him.
Yeah, we probably don't stand a chance, but it would be really nice to have some higher level priest talk to him as well.
Well, I will
If we
tell
at
you, there are
least could check on the priest, we could just try to buy some time here.
Yeah, but before I go,
Will you
since,
stand for us, says the priest to you, the young one.
Yeah, I'm standing here already, so yeah.
He kind of looks down the steps like, so that's where you walk.
I just gonna stand where I'm standing. I prepared the fire blade in my mind, or the rune, just just in case.